And in the past, the person I was dating, she would tell me, "Have the best day ever," and that was part of the morning routine. And now that that person's no longer in my life, I that saying has come back to me and like tenfold. I've started telling everyone else, "Have the best day ever." So that's, I try to even get on Instagram and like tag 5 people and say, have the best day ever, and pay it forward.
Welcome to the Evolved Podcast, an open forum on personal growth and cultivating a positive mindset. Today we are talking with John Thomas, aka the bodybuilding vegan. John has been vegan for the animals and plant-based for the planet for the past 16 years. He is a competitive bodybuilder and a business owner. John is currently working towards becoming the first vegan professional athlete in men's open bodybuilding. Based in Gainesville, Florida, John is the co-founder of Weight Train, which sells fitness equipment and apparel. They recently expanded into women's apparel with their brand Athlicity in the Weight Train family. John finds his passion and purpose in life through coaching clients to improve their personal fitness and lifestyle to become their best self through positivity and accountability. Let's go. Hi, John. Welcome to the Evolved Podcast.
Hey, Joe, thanks for having me on again.
Of course, man. So before we get started, can you please just introduce yourself? Tell me who you are, what you do for a living, and what you're passionate about.
So my name is John. Most people know me on Instagram as the bodybuilding vegan. I've been vegan 17 years, lifting weights for about 15. I'm now a competitive bodybuilder. I run a couple businesses, apparel and equipment based. So Weight Train is one of them. Athlicity is another. And I'm also an online coach. So I coach all sorts of people. I definitely specialize more in plant-based athletes, but I'll work with anybody. So my goal is just to have a positive impact on as many people as possible in whatever manner that is. A lot of this podcast really spoke to me when you asked me to come on because of the positive mindset attitude, like really just finding positivity in everything. That's actually why I have these classes on. They say gratitude on the side, and it started as a joke. I was going through a breakup, and I told my friend, I'm just going to get some gratitude classes, and if I'm feeling down or forgetting things that I'm grateful about, I'm just going to put them on. And he's like, you should make these. So now I make those as well. And like just trying to find ways to stay positive and happy, and remind myself that no matter what I'm going through, if I can for somebody else what they're going through, there's usually something that you can find to be grateful for.
Yeah, and it's a good reminder, and it doesn't hurt that they look good too. I didn't realize that you made those sunglasses yourself. I thought that was a different company.
No, they're all me. I had no, like, it's funny because we're re-recording now. I was on about 2 months ago, I think. And a lot has changed since then. So I'm glad we're doing this one. And that's one of the things. It's showing me that like you really can't plan the future because there's so many great things out there that you don't even know about yet. I had no clue about gratitude glasses the last time we spoke. And so yeah, that's something I'm doing on the side.
Awesome. And you had mentioned before about, you have another job that you do in addition to all of that, right? Is that still happening?
Good question. At that point in time, 2 months ago, I was still working full time on top of everything else, and I've been able to scale that back. It's with a very close friend of mine. It's for his business, and it's where I've learned everything that I've learned about business. So I'm still happy to work for him in a more limited capacity, probably on average about 3 hours a day. So it gives me at least 5 hours a day back into my life to go do stuff. Like this weekend, I took some time off to go to Panama City Beach here in Florida and do some tabling events for my companies and go to the beach and get some classes out there and just take some experiences in life that I wouldn't have been able to if I was still working as many hours.
Yeah. And it's great that you are able to, start to scale that back because you are already doing so much for promoting your businesses and, your personal brand as the bodybuilding vegan, not to mention training, to do your next show, which I know is a really big focus of yours as well. You've been focusing on, building your body up bigger to prepare for your next show in 2023, correct?
Yes, correct. I last competed towards the end of the year in 2021. I'm taking all of 2022 to grow. I'm not taking it off. I'm actively working. I'm growing.
Right.
And then the goal is to get back on stage sometime late in 2023. And the ultimate goal there is to become the first plant-based IFBB pro in men's open bodybuilding. I know there's a couple guys that have done it in like the men's physique class, but the actual like the biggest guys out there, to my knowledge, there's no IFBB pros, at least in the United States, that are fully plant-based that I have turned pro. So that's a goal. I think if I can, I don't have any intention of going to the Olympia. I know where some of my limitations lie, but if I can be the first and just kind of open that door, almost like when somebody first set the world record for 1,000-pound deadlift, once one person did it, or the 4-minute mile, once one person did it, so many other people went through. So if I can do that, I feel like it'll open the door for a lot of other plant-based athletes.
Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned before that you primarily work with plant-based athletes, but you also will work with other clients as well who don't follow that diet and lifestyle. Have any of your clients expressed interest in going into IFBB or IFBB bodybuilding as well?
I have a few, actually more of the ladies, to be honest. That's where I think there's more of an overlap. There's more women proportionately that are vegan. So that would be the larger sect there. No other men competitively working with me as bodybuilders. I have a former competitive bodybuilder working with me, but not actively competing.
Is your coach plant-based as well?
No, he's not. And so in the past, I had worked with John Izzy, who was not vegan, but he was plant-based for a few years while he competed. So that was the main reason on why I chose to work with him. And I started working with my new coach, Justin Jacoby, around, I believe, February. And I'm realizing this, like, I'm not the only vegan or plant-based athlete working with coaches that really don't have a whole lot of knowledge in that field. And granted, bodybuilding, there's so many different aspects. There's training, posing, nutrition, sleep, supplements. Like, so much goes into it that to have one person that can hit all of those is pretty hard if you're plant-based. Like, you can usually find all the other ones. So like, I'm kind of helping my coach me, telling him what foods would be good, what's worked for me in the past, but I'm also learning some new things that I wouldn't have tried myself. And I think that's where the value lies there. Long term, I'd like to start a plant-based coaching team, to be able to offer everything my coach offers, but also for athletes that aren't going to be eating meat or dairy to achieve their physiques. That would be a long-term goal.
Right. So you have the nutrition piece and you're helping to teach him, some of those practices that have worked for you. And then he's adapting, what he knows to better serve you. And then you're also learning the other elements from him so you can share that with your clients. And that's really great that you can sort of have that symbiotic relationship with each other and continue to learn and grow from each other. Yeah. So I want to take it back to the beginning of sorts. How did you get into like bodybuilding and strength training?
So it was kind of a roundabout way. I think there were a few factors that influenced it. I was bullied a lot as a child. Like, I really can't remember a single day that I wasn't bullied from like kindergarten up through like 8th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And it was mostly due to my looks, like to my hair, to my teeth. And I think that set me on that path because I always found ways to channel some of that negativity through exercise. Like I got into distance running, into soccer, and then my freshman year of high school, I got into wrestling. Um, and I did fairly well, to be honest. And after the first season ended, we started lifting weights to get stronger. And like after the first day of lifting weights, I was like, I don't think I want to wrestle. I think I want to lift weights. I always want to get super strong. And so for probably the first couple of years, all I really cared about was strength. Like I remember not even training calves because I was like, well, I could spend more time squatting and lift more weight if I don't train calves. Like I had a very backwards mindset. But I started to see the changes in my body. I started to look at other bodybuilders, and I think a part of me felt if I could get so big that nobody will make fun of me, then I'll be safe. And what I realized along the way is bodybuilding takes a lot of mental strength, and it's given me confidence in myself that if I work towards something, I can achieve it. And like, God forbid, I get in a car crash on the way to the gym today and I lose everything. I still know that I'll have that confidence inside me. Like it's no longer about the body. The body probably makes me more insecure now than it did back then. But that's a whole other story. But it gave me that internal confidence that I can go after things. I can work hard and usually get to wherever I want to be at.
Why would you say your body makes you more insecure now?
Well, a number of reasons. One, I think most people that lift, they have these goals that are always changing. Like I used to think I'll be happy if I get to 200 pounds, then I'll be happy if I get to 220. And now I'm walking around 245 and I think that I need to be 270. And I guarantee if I hit 270, I'll be like, well, why not 290? I always want to be bigger. And then now from a competing aspect, there's objective standards, like your shoulders could be bigger or your back could be bigger, your waist could be smaller. And so when I'm posing and I'm looking in a mirror, most people are probably like, oh, look at this jackass in the gym, he's just staring at himself. I'm usually like, okay, what do I need to bring up? What do I need to tighten down on? Like, what do I need to fix here? It's not so much like, oh, look at me, I'm happy how I look. That doesn't happen quite as often. But it's a competitive sport, and it's no different, I think, than like, you know, if you play basketball and you got to work on how you shoot, it's a objective criticism to change something. It's a little bit harder though, because bodybuilding is literally how you look. And so I think some people get their identity and self-worth tied up in that. And I dabble in that, but I try to stay out of it.
Yeah. And I know that is very much a mental game as well, you know, in addition to a physical game. And, you know, I know it's definitely hard for women too, especially like if they're putting themselves in that environment and they're being judged and critiqued on their bodies. And, you know, some people deal with that better than others. But it's important to acknowledge that, you know, men deal with those insecurity issues as well. And, you know, I think it's important to be kind to yourself and, you know, practice gratitude, as you were talking about earlier, and try and cultivate that self-love and that healthy mindset, you know, so that even if you are trying to get bigger and build more muscles, like you're still able to love yourself now as you are and accept where you are right now. You know, I'm not a bodybuilder myself, but my body image has been something that I've struggled with. I was a lot heavier in the past than I am now. And I, you know, had a low self-esteem as a result of that and poor body image. And, you know, as I've been able to take off weight through strength training and endurance sports as well, I've been able to cultivate a better, healthier mindset with how I perceive myself, how I love myself. And, you know, it's a challenge for sure, but, you know, it is important to practice that. Yeah. So you talked about your companies that you started, Weight Train and Athlicity. Can you tell me about how those got started and like where they're at now?
Yeah, back to you really never have a clue what the future is going to entail. I had back around 2020 in March, so right when COVID was starting to break out, I had started working in finance for a new company. I was pretty excited about it. 2 weeks in, I got laid off. I was able to get a part-time job with my current business partner with Weight Train prior to us ever having Weight Train, and then the gyms closed like the day after I got laid off. So it was a rough week, but it led me down this path to meet this person, Jason, that took me under his wing, showed me a lot about business, and we started talking about the gym every day because it was closed. And like, how are we going to work out at home? What dumbbells are we going to buy? What pull-up bands could we get? And then we started thinking like, maybe we could get some for our friends. And then he's being business minded. He's like, well, all these people on Amazon are like price gouging people. Like, what if we just get some for everybody? I was like, okay, let's start doing it. So we started manufacturing and finding different products that people could use to work out at home. And then a couple months later here in Florida, the gyms opened back up, and we're like, well, we don't have to stop here. We have pull-up bands. We have like hip resistance bands. Well, why not make like knee sleeves, wrist wraps, like anything that we would use at the gym? And so we started making all those products, and it caught on here. And then people really started asking about apparel. And I was like, I don't want an apparel company. Like, I don't care about that. I just want equipment. But people that had bought our belt or bought our figure eight straps or something, they wanted to be able to show support, but also like show that they worked out. And our logo is pretty cool because it has a barbell. There's not, that I know of, many other companies that have a barbell in their logo. So if you wear like a Nike shirt, you might look like a football player or a soccer player or just somebody that, you know, does push-ups at home. Like you have no way of knowing, does this person actually go to the gym? So I feel like there's a bit of identity tied to this logo, and the apparel side has really taken off. We also realized that this logo is a bit big and in your face, which I love because I want people to know I work out. But some people want more of like a refined look. So we created our second apparel brand called Alyssa, which is really just about like luxury, but like also comfortable clothing. Usually like gym wear, like currently like leggings, shorts, sports bras, stuff like that. So those have kept me busy. Definitely very excited there. I have a couple side projects that I work on as well. One that's tied a bit more to veganism. I have a shirt right here. It's the hashtag vegan shirt, but it's under a company called OneToSaveMany.com. And I love working with them because 100% of the sales are donated to charities for animals. So that was something that like struck me. Like, I've been working on myself and working on my businesses, but where am I giving back? Like I do try and help people at the gym, but like, where am I really giving back? Where am I putting my money where my mouth is? Like, I can't remember the last time I donated. So with One to Save Many, I try and buy a couple shirts each month to grow awareness for this brand, but also to do my part and donate to some places that need help, that need some money to take care of animals, like usually like animal shelters. So those are kind of like my three main things right now. I have some sponsors and stuff as well, but as far as like things I'm actively working on, those are the three biggest.
Do you want to shout out any of the organizations that you donated to?
Southgate Sanctuary is one of the ones. The way it's set up now, I think it's really smart. Each month they pick a different sanctuary or animal shelter, and I believe that was the most recent one. So they pick one for the month, and all the shirt proceeds for that month are donated to that charity. So it kind of takes, that was another thing. Like, I didn't personally know where to donate or have the mindset of like, okay, I need to go do some research and find out, is this a good place to donate to? I trust this company. I know the owner myself, and it takes the guesswork out for me. I just know that my money's going to a good place. Gotcha. He has it all listed there, but I just won't.
So someone else is running that company, and you're just the like brand ambassador, and you know, you're helping them promote all that.
Yeah.
Sweet, awesome. And then Gratitude Sunglasses, you mentioned before, is another new company that you started, right?
Not quite a company yet. It might go.
Okay, in the process of becoming established.
Yeah, I only got them in last week, and like I was astonished at how many people wanted them. So it looks like it might be going that direction. Yeah.
Right. That's awesome. And at Athlicity, that's just for women's apparel, right?
The last time we spoke, it was going to be just women's apparel, but things are changing. We see it becoming more of a luxury, like athleisure wear, and we plan to get some stuff for the guys as well. We're thinking like joggers, some nice fitted shirts with a more muted logo, like just the Athleticity A up in the corner, because some people want to go out and wear something nice and comfortable, but not so in your face.
Yeah, that's definitely more my style.
Okay, yeah, we'll get you some.
For sure, that'd be sweet. Okay, so can you tell me about like what's your why for like doing what you're passionate about? You know, whether it's building these businesses, supporting the businesses that you love, bodybuilding and strength training. Why do you do it all?
For me, I really do feel grateful for everything I have in my life, and I'm fully aware that I have gotten very lucky to be at where I'm at. I mean, if just nothing else, being born in America, being born to good parents, to having so many wonderful people in my life, like this, a lot of people have like springboarded me forward to where I am now. And I feel like I'm finally in a position where I can give back, whether that's, through coaching and not necessarily just paid coaching. Like I try and help out anybody that reaches out to me, but raising awareness. Like I'm so lucky to have this body, and it's basically, in lack of a better word, like a billboard, or a better word would be like a medium of communication for veganism, for fitness, for taking care of the planet. Like I just feel like I have been given so much, and it's my turn to start trying to give that back to the next generation. I normally train with younger guys now instead of people that are older than me, because like I still want to learn, but I have this chance to help get somebody else a few years ahead, and that's where I'd rather spend my time.
Yeah, it's great that you can be a role model and a mentor to younger people, and you're already doing that on social media, but the more you can do it in person, and that way you can share it and it's more relatable, it just makes a bigger impact for sure. When did you decide to become vegan, and like how did that come about?
It was something it now makes sense. I had never considered it before, but like I remember one time when I was like 4, I went fishing with my dad, and we caught the fish, and he's like, "Are you ready to eat fish?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then he's like pulling them out of the water, and I'm watching them drown on the dock, and I just start throwing a fit. And he's like, "Well, what's going on?" I was like, "Well, do we have to kill them?" He's like, "If you're gonna eat them, yeah." And so I was like, "Nope, throw them back in the water." And he did. And I didn't turn vegan at that age, but like when it was right in front of me, when I was watching something die just for me to eat it, even at 4, I was like, "This doesn't feel right." But we live in a world where we're not really shown what we eat. And so I was around, I believe, 10 years old when my best friend at the time came over, and we had her mom had brought a hamburger for me, and I go to eat it, and she's like, "Well, you're killing a cow." And I'm like, "No, I'm just eating a hamburger." She's like, "No, you're killing a cow by eating that." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, whatever." And I kept eating it. But like she planted this seed, and over the next couple weeks, I started to really think about it, and I was like, maybe she's right. Maybe I'll try this. I'm 10 years old. I don't have a clue what the hell I'm doing with diet or nutrition or anything. I'm just going to try and eat things that don't have meat. And I did for 3 years. And then on the way to school, in middle school, somehow I'm on a PETA mailing magazine list. Not saying I highly endorse everything they do, but they were what opened my eyes. They sent a magazine out as like, if you're vegetarian, it's still not enough. And like, I don't want to put anybody down for the spot they're out on their journey. I was vegetarian for 3 years before I became vegan. But when I saw in that magazine how dairy cows were treated, and then when I learned that as soon as they stop producing milk, they're killed anyways and turned into hamburgers, I was like, well, shoot, this is kind of all the same thing. Let me try being vegan for like a week. And now it's been like 17 years. It for me, it all fits in together. It's good for the animals, which is why I started, but it's good for my health. It's good for the planet. I've met so many positive people from it. And then also at the highest level of bodybuilding, there's a lot of disease and unhealthiness that I think can at least somewhat be mitigated by switching over to more plant-based foods. I know not everyone is going to fully make the switch, but I see from my clients using pea protein instead of whey protein that they feel better, that it digests better for them. And then I see on blood work that cholesterol and other variables come back better on my plant-based clients than my non-plant-based clients. So I think that it all makes sense to me. It's like half of who I am, like the bodybuilding vegan, like that's half of what I am now. So that's a very long-winded way of that's how I became vegan.
It's cool, man. I love it. I've been vegan myself for almost 6 years. I became vegan in 2017, and it's definitely been the best decision I ever made. I think there's enough science out there to back it up that, of course, there's so many health benefits to it. But, sort of like you said, like people don't really stop and think about like the food that they're eating until, it's right there in their face. And, whether that is an animal suffering or, negative health results that, they need to deal with. Pain is a great motivator in many ways. But that's really cool that you had that awareness and that willingness to start to make those changes in your life at such a young age. I wish I am able to say that about myself, but I didn't really start to see outside of like what I was like brought up on until I was in my like late 20s. Some seeds were definitely planted in college when I saw like some documentaries like Food Incorporated and Vegucated, and it was a documentary as well that made me want to switch to a plant-based diet. I saw this documentary on Netflix called Food Choices, and it talked about the health benefits of a plant-based diet and how it was good for endurance athletes with reducing inflammation. I was trying to do a lot more running at that time, and really wanted to run a half marathon. And after I switched to a plant-based diet, I was not only able to do a half marathon, but I was eventually able to run a full marathon and an ultra marathon. And just this last year, I started doing more strength training, more cycling, and I never felt better on the plant-based diet like I did before. And like you said, it sort of checks all the boxes. Like after I did it for health reasons, I started educating myself more about the environmental impacts as well as animal welfare. And it's just better for everyone. It's better for your physical health. It's better for your mental health. It's better for your sexual health. There's so many benefits to it. So it's really great that it is catching on more and more, and people are at least incorporating more plant-based options, and they're much more accessible now. Formerly you could only get them at like health food stores, but now you can get plant-based foods everywhere. And even of course the whole foods plant-based foods like fruits and vegetables, grains, nuts and seeds, those have always been available, but people are more aware of exploring different options. And you're definitely promoting that too with like all the different recipes and foods that you're sharing on your social media. And people are more willing to try it because they see you providing that example. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's changed a lot in 17 years. There used to be nothing out there. People back then would tell me, "Oh, being vegan is too hard," and I could kind of relate. But now, as long as Walmart's open, you can you can. I mean, Walmart stepped up their game. They got vegan ice cream, vegan cheeses, fake vegan meats, vegan pizzas. Like, if you're saying convenience is the reason, like, go to Walmart. At the worst case scenario, you can get your food there. And I'm not trying to promote Walmart and say they're great, but like, you really can. If you want to, you can do this. And I think it's great that you have your journey because you have some data. You saw how you performed prior to making the switch.
Mm-hmm.
Me switching at 10 years old, I had never touched a weight or thought I would be a weightlifter. So I have no data there. I have no idea if I'd be better or worse. I just have what I have. And everybody comes to these decisions on their own time. You can't be forced into it. And I think there's an aspect to some vegans that they're like, well, I came to this decision and you have to come to your decision now and you have to see it exactly the way I see it. But I don't want to alienate anyone. I try to just come across as who I am. This is the path I'm on. If you want to hop on with me, it's pretty easy. Let's do it. But I don't ever want to put anyone down, even if they come to this decision later, because I'm lucky my friend came in at 10, someone I trusted and told me that, because if not, I don't know when it would have happened for me. So everybody's on their own journey, and I just want to be opening and welcoming. So if anybody's watching this and they're trying to think about making the switch, like, send me a DM. I'm happy to talk to anybody. Like, no judgment. It's your own journey.
Yeah, and that goes both ways. I'd love to talk with anyone who's interested in eating a more plant-based diet. Happy to share any resources that they might need. We can all just share our own voice and experience, and try to do so in a positive way to improve the visibility and the awareness of how great plant-based lifestyles are. Hey guys, brief pause in the episode to tell you about some of the great businesses that support this podcast. First, we got Weight Train. Use code EvolvedPodcast to get 10% off all Weight Train and Athleticity gym gear and apparel. No matter what you need for your workouts, they have the gear to help you get it done. And if you don't see something you want, email them at team@weighttrain.com and they will take your requests for new products. Visit Weight Train for all your gym gear needs. Next is True Nutrition. Use code EvolvedPodcast to get 5% off all nutrition supplements. I'm personally a fan of their soy isolate vegan protein powder, available in a variety of flavors and strengths, from light to heavy. They also have non-vegan protein powders if that's not your thing. I personally recommend the cinnamon bun and toasted coconut flavors in the heavy strength, and I add them to waffles, oatmeal, protein shakes, and ice cream. They're delicious. Check out their wide range of supplements at affordable prices that are third-party tested and verified for content quality. They are able to provide such great prices because the supplements come direct from the manufacturer without any marketing gimmicks or fancy labels. Visit TrueNutrition.com to supplement your workouts and your nutrition. Last is Hate Brand Goods. Use code EvolvedPodcast to get 15% off all Hate Brand clothing and accessories. Their goat shorts and shirts are the most comfortable clothing I've ever worn, and they have the coolest designs. However, their clothing drops are only available in limited quantities, so get your favorites while you can, and be on the lookout for other drops that you're stoked on. Visit thehate.com, spelled HVIII, for clothing to remind the world that you're not dead yet and you're ready to kick today in the dick. Back to the show. What's your current workout routine, and how does it serve you in other areas of your life?
Current workout routine, I'll keep it a little bit basic, but I lift weights 5 times a week, about 2 hours or so each session, focusing on adductors and back right now, because in bodybuilding, you need to always work on your weak points or whatever's like lagging behind. So those are my 2 weaker points. I also do cardio at 5 sessions on the stairs for 30 minutes each session a week. And how does it serve me? In every way. It serves my businesses. It gets me out there. It allows me to meet new people, spread the plant-based side when I wear a vegan shirt, spread my business when I wear a Weight Train shirt. But also for me, it's my mental health. Like, if you told me I'd never get any bigger, any stronger, I'd still go to the gym. Like, if I knew this was it, I'd still go. It's just a way for me to decompress, to get around some like-minded people. We've created specifically these shirts. They say Weight Train Family because I have a saying, like, as soon as you cross that threshold into the gym, in my mind, your family. It doesn't matter what your political beliefs are, whether or not you're vegan, whether you're black, white, purple, Hispanic, Asian. It doesn't matter who you are, where you're from. Like, we're all a family in the gym. We're all just trying to get better. So that's like my safe place. Like I go there and I can kind of turn off any negativity in my life, anything that I've allowed to creep in, and just focus on me and those other like-minded people around me. So it's everything for me. I haven't been outside. I haven't missed a gym session for more than a week and over the past decade. Like I made a trip to Europe for 5 days and I didn't go into a gym those 5 days, but that's the longest consecutive time I've been outside of a gym in 10 years. So it's just it's everything to me, to be honest.
Yeah. Aside from that trip, do you ever like try and find a gym when you're out traveling so you can get that training in?
Yep. Pretty much usually whenever I travel somewhere, the first thing I look is where are the gyms, and then I look where the hotels are. But you can still get some stuff done if you have to.
Yeah.
Like body weight, and I'll take some of the weight train bands and do stuff. But like usually you can find a gym.
Right.
Now that COVID is less causing lockdowns and stuff like in the past, it's not nearly as hard.
Yeah, definitely. What's your morning routine look like?
You had asked me this the first time, and I didn't have a great answer. It really depends. I usually get up and work on clients that have like checked in overnight, and then I do like to make green tea. So green tea could be a morning routine for me. And in the past, the person I was dating, she would tell me have the best day ever, and that was part of the morning routine. And now that that person's no longer in my life, that saying has come back to me and like tenfold. I've started telling everyone else have the best day ever. So I try to even get on Instagram and like tag 5 people and say have the best day ever and pay it forward. And like it's led to I'm working with one of the people on my team and a very close friend of mine, Alyssa. She's going to be making her own shirts that say have the best day ever. And so that's now kind of the morning routine, I guess. Like try to just put some positivity out there early on in the day and wish some goodness to other people, because it comes back. Now people tell me have the best day ever, like probably 10 people a day, and it's like this is just awesome. So yeah.
It makes you feel good to say it, and it helps set the tone for the day, starting on a good note. Yeah
For sure.
What project are you currently working on or recently finished?
There's a lot. I remember the last time I was on, we talked about getting collars to go, like clips to go in the bars. We did get those in, and that helps me a lot because my deadlifts are going over 5 plates for 10 reps, and the weights have started to slide off at the gym. I've actually had them come off once. So now that we have these, that's another thing that we've gotten in place. I'm really proud to say that I've created my own website, thebodybuildingvegan.com, that lays out a little bit about who I am and also has some links to the different companies I work for, and then also my coaching. So that was something I had never done before, which was like design a website from the ground up. I've always had help with other people, but this one I was able to take on myself. And then I guess finally just it's a little bit less concrete, but just working on myself, working on being present, because for so long I lived in the future. When this happens, I'll be happy. When I achieve this, I'll be happy. And I gave up a good portion of my life just waiting for a future and an ideal that hasn't come and that won't come. And like, I don't know what next week will be, and that's great. I have long-term goals like competing, but I'm learning to just enjoy the moment each day, and realize that my best possible future a year from now, if I wrote it down, everything I wanted to achieve, it's probably not as best as what could actually happen. Like we have no clue what's going to happen in the next month, in the next year. And so stay open to that, and don't be scared, but be excited. Like I'm so excited. Like I didn't know there'd be gratitude glasses 2 months ago, and I don't know what will be there 2 months from now, but I'm looking forward to whatever that is. So that's staying present and mindful.
What are some ways that you're practicing staying present and mindful? Like, are you journaling or meditating, anything like that?
I think constantly checking in with myself.
Mhm.
Um, I don't journal, but I do Instagram. I put
Right.
I put pretty much everything on there. Or at least I try to. I try to be really vulnerable and just really honest. And that's a way for me to get my thoughts down on paper, so to speak.
Mhm.
But just throughout the day, I'll be like, are you worrying about something 12 hours from now? Like, are you worrying about all this work you're gonna have to do when you get home? Is that what you want to focus on right now? Because that work's gonna be there either way.
Right.
Um, and and so I'll ask myself, like, is this something that we need to worry about right now? And usually the answer is no. And I'm not saying like I put off all my responsibilities and obligations, but I just try and realize what can I do with the time I have. Like I had to take a 4-hour trip to get here, and I had clients backing up. I had Instagram notifications backing up. But I was like, well, I can't work on clients and drive. I can't text and drive. I can't Instagram and drive. So I'm just gonna put on some Ariana Grande and drive for 4 hours and rock out, and all this will be there when I get there, and I'll take care of it then. And it's funny that like the time where I had no ability to work or do anything, I was the most at peace because I couldn't. Like there's if you can't do it, then don't worry about it. Like it'll come.
Yeah, it'll always be there. And that's one thing that we sort of didn't get into the last time we spoke, but I was curious to ask about it. So I'm going to ask it now. Um, what's how do you like look at your relationship to like Instagram and social media in general in terms of like the amount of time that you spend on it? Like, do you feel like that affects your mental health at all in like a negative way or a positive way? Or like, in your relationships with other people offline, how has that um, affected your life?
Whew. It is a double-edged sword.
Yeah,
My relationship with Instagram, if you look at my screen time on my phone, I average about 11 hours a day, which is a lot.
it's a lot.
Um,
Yeah.
but Instagram has given me so many connections I never would have had. I met you. I met
Right.
my good friend Brent that runs One to Save Many. I've met probably thousands of people over the years, but really more like hundreds of people this year. I probably talked to about 75 people a day on Instagram, which is a lot. It's daunting. I think the biggest problem for me is I don't know when to say no. I
Mhm.
don't know when to like turn off. But it's given me all these connections. It's given me so much positivity, so much happiness to be able to. I watched a sunset with Willow last night because I was here on the East Coast watching the sunset, and I was like, "Oh, I'll send you a photo." And she's in New Mexico, and we've never met, but she's like, "I'll send you a photo of the one here when it comes out." And it's just like it's a weird connection because it's all through the phone, but at the end of the day, yes, it's Instagram, but on the other side of the screen, there's another person, and I'm so grateful for it. I'm so grateful to be able to connect with all these people, to promote my businesses, to promote veganism. When I went through my breakup, I was very open and honest about how I was feeling, how I was going to therapy, what was working for me, and I had people reaching out from London, from all across the United States, from my hometown, telling me they're going through something similar and that my words helped them. And like I didn't want to like feel like I'm some great awesome person for helping all these other people, but like if one person was able to find some closure or to find some meaning in what they were going through because they were able to see my path, like that was all that mattered. And I would say it's helped me get through a lot in life, which is weird because I used to not like social media. I used to not like Instagram, but I think it's what you make of it. And right now, I use it as a way to talk to the people I care about. So,
Right. It's a tool ultimately, and it can be leveraged for, a lot of positivity and a lot of connection, as you spoke to. Um, I think it is important to have boundaries with it when appropriate. For me, that's definitely something that I've struggled with. Not being on Instagram when I don't need to be. But I know with people who use it, as a way to make money, that is a bit more challenging. And, hopefully you have a partner who is understanding of that, or, other people in your life, family, what have you, friends, who are understanding of that. But yeah, it
Yeah.
is a double-edged sword, very much so. It has its benefits, but it can also have consequences.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's my main source of income. My two sponsorships are through my promotions on Instagram. My clients are mainly found through Instagram and through word of mouth. And so yeah, I think if you have a significant other, I don't currently, but if you do and that's your source of income, they'll have to understand that your hours aren't, unless that's how you set your business up, that your hours are 9 to 5. They'll have to realize that like you occasionally need to take an hour away to go work on stuff.
Mm.
It's definitely not a traditional job. But what I love about it and what I'm hoping to do is take like a month-long road trip. I can still Instagram on the road. I can still work on my clients on the road. I can still promote for my sponsors on the road. And I'll still be able to make the same money while traveling the United States. And
Right.
then in the future, when I'm a little bit further out from competing, I'll probably go overseas and do the same thing. So it's double-edged sword, but I still keep it. I love it.
Yeah, and it is convenient that you can take it with you wherever you go. Where are you planning on traveling to?
Uh, I have so many places that I'd love to go. I really loved hiking in Phoenix, Arizona a few years back, so I'd love to get back out there. I have a bunch of friends now in California. Thank you, Instagram. So I'd love to go meet some of these people in person. I have family in Colorado. Um, yeah, I want to see like Yellowstone and like Glacier and some of the other like major national parks out there. Um, I feel like I could spend like a year doing it, but I'm gonna have to narrow it down. Yeah,
Awesome. Sounds like you got a lot of fun trips ahead of you.
yeah.
When you're in a creative slump, what do you do to get out of it?
Ooh. Um, Sometimes I'll just go read some motivational quotes. I don't feel like which one is speaking to me.
Hmm.
But to be honest, there's usually so much going up on in here. I don't have like attention deficit disorder. I've been tested, but like my brain is always in a million different places. I'm always like working on like 5 projects at once, and so like I usually have something to say. I'll be grateful there. It's usually it's the other way around. It's like which one do I pick? Which one do I want to put time
Right.
in today? Yeah.
Yeah, it helps to have multiple things that you can focus on. So, one thing isn't, getting enough focus, you can change your focus and reprioritize to something else. And then, you can come back to another project that, is you need to focus at that time. And, being able to bounce back and forth between things, can, give you other ideas for the different projects as well. Um, do you have any habits that you practice that help you to stay productive, remember new ideas, or add value to your life? And if so, what are they?
Um, I take a lot of notes on my phone. I set a lot of timers because I realize that like staying organized is key. If I don't write something down, I will probably forget it. I started using a calendar.
Hmm.
Thank you, Google Calendars.
Game
For a
changer.
while, I was able to do it all in my head, but not anymore. I got so much going
Yeah.
on. But for me, actually, like the timers on my phone. If it's, I'm like, oh, I need to do this. All right, I'll do it later. No, I won't. I'll forget. So I set a timer. That helps me lock it in.
Yeah, I'm with you on the calendar. Like that's my most used app on my phone. It helps me to set reminders for myself as well. Just, notes about like what I need to do in a specific day. Even like taking medications, like it's helpful in every aspect to, maintain that productivity and do what you got to do. What are some ways that you practice self-care in your life to give yourself the energy that you need to focus on your personal growth?
In a way, I feel like the gym is self care for me. People tell me like, oh, if you could do whatever you wanted today, what are you gonna do? Like that's always on the list. I want to be there.
Right.
That's self-care for me. What I'd like to make more space for is getting out in the sun, whether that's just like going to the pool or going for a walk. That's a way for me to kind of recharge and feel better. Like yesterday, I spent a couple hours at the beach. And granted, I'll be honest, I was on my phone working for a good amount of it, but that was nice. It was just nice to be out in the breeze, in the sun, and just outside, getting out of. I mean, it is hot here in Florida, but it's okay at the beach.
Yeah.
Finding some space to just kind of like, yeah, take a little bit of time to myself, whatever that means for me at that moment, and get in the sun. That's where I want to focus on going forward, because I'll always make time for the gym. That's always the first thing on my calendar each day. Everything else gets worked around.
Yeah, right on. I know getting outside is so important for your mental health too, especially if you're in a place where you can be in some green space, whether that's like grass or trees, going on a trail or something like that is always nice. You can, get that fresh oxygen and get some vitamin D from the sun, and just helps you to think more clearly and, have a more positive outlook. That's been really helpful for me. And, I love spending time outside as much as I can, whether that's like on a bike ride or just walking my dog. It always makes me feel good. As long as it's not raining.
Yeah.
What is an obstacle that you're currently facing or recently faced, and what practices did you use to cope with it?
For me, I lost a lot of my identity going through this most recent breakup. I think that was the big obstacle there. I had tied so much into that future, that idealized mindset of what the next year, the next 5 years would look like, and we had already kind of covered it. But how I'm getting through that is just living for the moment, and staying very optimistic and open to whatever future is out there is probably better than I can imagine right now. And so
Mhm.
that makes me happy. Like if the best out there for me is better than I could ever conceive right now in my mind, then that's awesome. So yeah, I'm just enjoying doing things like this, taking time out of my day to be with people that are like-minded, positive, good influences on me. I'll never regret something like that. So just
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's very true that your vibe attracts your tribe, as like cliche as that sounds, um, what like energy you're putting out into the world is what comes back to you. And um, if you're trying to better yourself and better your community, I think, that type of energy, because all living things contain energy, right? And those energy, fields can like, in a like metaphysical way can sort of be attracted to each other. And um, whatever you're, putting out there, whether that is your products or your attitude, or like we were talking about before, like your representation as a vegan athlete, like, that's going to attract certain people into your life and help you form those new relationships. And we don't know who's coming or like what to expect from that, but if we are putting forth that effort, then um, good things will come from it. It's just like the law of attraction. Yeah, it's a
I
beautiful
I
thing.
can't speak for the science behind it, but I can firsthand say this is the most positive and happy I've ever been in my life. And I think it's because anytime that I was feeling down, I would try and lend some positivity to somebody else. Almost fake it until you make it. Even if that just means finding somebody on Instagram and be like, wow, you look great in this photo. Like, or wow, you look so happy, or I'm so happy. Like whatever it is, like not being disingenuous. But even if I felt bad in that moment personally for what was going on with me, I was like, well, if I can make somebody else smile, then at least I'm doing something for somebody else, even if I don't feel great. And then turn around, I feel better.
Mhm.
It and it just keeps going. It's like a snowball effect. very, very happy and positive right now. I think that, like you said, your vibe attracts your tribe.
Absolutely, man. So we're going to move towards wrapping up, but I have a few recurring segments for the podcast that I want to cover first. First is the mindset moment. What is a quote or tip that you use that inspires you to keep going and stay positive despite personal hardships?
I'm going with one my dad has told me for years, and I only looked at it as one side of a coin. It's this too shall pass. And so my dad used to say that in hard times. He would say like, "Oh, this too shall pass." And so I would take it as that. But I realized that it's for both. It's not just for the hard times. It's for the good times. Like as morbid as this is, my parents, I have a lot of good times with them, but I have to keep it in my head. This too shall pass. Like eventually they won't be here, and that's gonna be fucking hard. But enjoy this moment. And it kind of grounds me in both directions. If I'm going through a tough time, I can use that quote to say, just keep going, you'll get through this. But when I'm enjoying myself, I try and remember that quote too, and like really, really enjoy that moment, and make the most of it. So
Absolutely.
in both ways.
Yeah, I love that perspective. It is important to be mindful of the good and the bad, and embrace that. That helps you to be more present. Like you said, you were trying to practice before. Next is PMA Warrior of the Week. Who is someone who inspires you to keep going and keep a positive mental attitude?
Ooh. I'm gonna go with Alyssa for this one. She's a bikini competitor that's also my best friend. She is 2 weeks out from her show right now. I guess technically 13 days now. And I just admire how she 100% sticks to her plan, but still makes time for like friends and family and prep. Like she was even going out like karaoke or birthday parties and stuff like that. And she'd bring her own food and she'd go and like she'd still do everything she needed to do to be a bodybuilder, but she'd be smiling and happy with other people. And that makes me think, well, dang, I didn't need to like become more of a recluse during my prep. Maybe I could have tried to be like that, but she's really just been here to support me. She checks in on me. She has been a huge positive mindset approach to everything in life, for me in the past few months. So she keeps me on track. She keeps me, if I'm having a bad day, I know she can cheer me up. So, and then she just leads by example. She is actually the reason we're making the "Have the Best Day Ever" shirts, because she started saying it more than I do. So I'm gonna give her a shout out there. Yeah.
Good for her. Yeah. And you said that she runs the athleticity side of the business too, right?
She has a pretty major role in assisting with that. We have one person that's, I guess you could almost say like the president or the CEO of that side. But Alyssa helps out quite a bit with both athleticity and weight training.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Last segment is good food, good mood. What's one of your go-to meals that helps you to feel your best?
Well, I would say pizza, like vegan pizza would definitely be at the top of my list. Like that's my all-time cheat meal.
Mm-hmm.
As far as like good food for performance and stuff that I like, I'm recently working with Pride Foods, and they make this Pride Foods cream of rice, and they have this brown sugar cinnamon version. And I'll mix that with some of my pumpkin pie protein from True Nutrition, and that is like, oh my gosh. I mean, it's like carbs and protein, but it tastes like dessert. It's out of this world. So I love that right now. I eat that every day after training. So that's my big one, cream of rice.
Yeah, that sounds yummy. I tried out the cream of rice after we spoke the first time, and I definitely think I prefer oatmeal a little bit more, but it was pretty tasty. Though the one that you just described sounds even better, with that flavor added in.
Yeah, Pride Foods offers them flavored, so that's definitely a bit of a game changer. It depends on what your goals are too. If your calories are a little bit lower, oats are totally fine. But if you're me and trying to get in tons of carbs or like a distance athlete, the cream of rice might digest better for you. That's why I like it. It digests really well.
I'll look into that. Well, John, thank you so much. I really enjoyed our conversation. Where can people follow along with you if they want to connect on your journey?
Instagram for sure, at the bodybuilding vegan. And that's where I'll field any DMs, any questions, anything like that. You can keep up with my progress. And then if you're not big on Instagram, or if you want to connect in another way, if you go to thebodybuildingvegan.com, that's my website. It has a way that you can email me, reach out there. So either one of those is great.
Awesome. Thanks again, man. Great talking to you.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. Have the best day ever.
You too, bud. Later.
Take care.
Hey guys, thanks for checking out our podcast. I hope you got a lot out of it and it was helpful for you in your personal growth journey. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast yet, please do so on your preferred podcast provider. We're available on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Stay blessed and keep the PMA. Later.